I had a CEO ask me a question that cuts right to the heart of one of the most overlooked gaps in any business. And what he said is, what should my finance director actually be telling me every month? Because right now, what happens is I get a board pack and a P&L, and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do with it. And I see this to be one of the most common concerns CEOs have, yet it is almost never addressed. Because here's the thing, most CEOs are not really financial people. They know finance, but they're not really financial people. And this is actually not a criticism, it is just a reality. They hired a finance director precisely so they would not have to worry about the numbers. But that creates a dangerous gap. And when I work with leadership teams, I ask every finance director the same question. Can you tell me within 60 seconds where the biggest margin leak is in this particular quarter? Not the revenue, not the EBITDA, the margin leak, the specific place where money is quietly leaving the business. And here's the thing, most cannot do it. Not because they are incompetent, because nobody has ever asked them to think that way. They report historically backwards, looking at what happened. And I need them to report forwards, looking at what is leaking and why. And here's the thing, profit is actually not a reward. It is actually a signal. And right now, your signal is telling you something. So let me give you a picture for this. Revenue is above the waterline. It is everything you can see, the numbers, the board reports, the headline results, and every CEO knows their revenue. Most can even tell their EBITDA, and some can tell you their net margin as well. But trapped value is below the waterline, invisible, silent, and almost always bigger than what is above. Below that particular waterline is where your gross margin has drifted 3 to 5% over 3 years and nobody raised the alarm. Where 2 of your top 10 clients are actually losing you money when you fully load the cost of serving them. That is the reality. Where your procurement costs have crept up to 12% without any renegotiation, where cash collection has slipped from 30 days to 55 days and nobody has a recovery plan. Now, most CEOs are steering their business to what they can see above the waterline. The diagnostic shows you what is under the water. And I promise you, it is always bigger than you expect. And this is what I call gap number 13 out of 15 gaps, which is financial blindness. It sits within the financial command dimension of the leadership operating system. And financial blindness is not about having bad numbers. It is about having the wrong conversation about those particular numbers. It is about a leadership team that receives a monthly board pack but never really interrogates it, where the financial director presents the P&L and the CEO simply nods and moves on to the next agenda item. And here's the thing, in my experience, financial blindness exists in businesses of every size. I've seen it in a £5 million company and I've seen it in a £50 million company as well. And the cost is almost always the same. 10 to 15% of margin sitting there, recoverable but invisible because nobody is asking the right questions. Now, as someone who spent years as group finance and commercial director driving 20-fold revenue growth, I can tell you this, that the financial conversations inside many leadership teams is dangerously superficial. It reports the past, it does not diagnose the present, and it certainly does not predict the future. So, here are 5 things your finance director should be reporting to you every single month. And if they are not, you have this financial blindness. Number one, gross margin by product line or service line, not blended by line, because the blended number hides the problem. If your overall gross margin is 38%, that might look acceptable, but when you really break it down, you might find that one particular product line is running at 52% and another one is running at 19% and is dragging the average down. So the fix is different depending on which line is leaking. The blended number tells you nothing. Number two, top 10 clients analyzed on a fully loaded basis, not just revenue minus direct cost, fully loaded. Account management time, service delivery, support, returns, credit terms, the actual cost of serving that particular client. And what I've seen is businesses where 2 of the top 5 clients by revenue were actually net negative. And they were celebrating them as their biggest wins while those clients were quietly destroying margin. Number 3, cash collection ratio. How many days on average does it take to convert an invoice into cash? And is that number improving or deteriorating? A slide from 30 days to 55 days on a 10 million pound business means you are carrying an additional 680,000 pounds in working capital at any given time. That has a cost, my dear friends, and it has a risk. So, number 4, procurement cost trend. Are your input costs going up? By how much? When was the last negotiation? Procurement waste is one of the quietest margin killers in any business. A 12% increase in procurement costs that nobody challenges is about 75,000 to 125,000 pounds walking out of the door every year. And finally, number 5, and this is the one most FDs never report. One forward-looking risk, not a list of 10 risks, just one. The single biggest financial risk to the business over the next 90 days. Is it cash flow? Is it a client dependency? Is it a margin squeeze? Is it a seasonal dip that nobody has planned for? One risk, named, quantified, with a mitigation plan. Now, if your financial director is reporting all 5 of those every month in a single page dashboard, you have what I call financial command. If they are not, you have financial blindness. And it is costing you money every month, my dear friends. So let me go deeper on the client profitability point because it is the one that always shocks CEOs. When I model this for a typical, say, 10 million pound business, here's what I often find. The top 5 clients by revenue normally account for roughly 40% of turnover. That is about 4 million pounds. Those clients feel important. They get the most attention. The CEO knows their names. The team celebrates every renewal. But when you fully load the cost of serving each one, you sometimes discover that 2 of those 5 are actually loss-making. A revenue of 800,000 pounds but cost to serve of 860,000 pounds. Net loss 60,000 pounds per year. Hidden because nobody has ever done the analysis. And here's the key. The answer is not to fire those clients immediately. The answer is to reprice, renegotiate, or restructure the engagement so that every client relationship generates positive margin. But you cannot do any of that if you do not know. And most businesses do not know. And that is financial blindness. The moment you stop asking your team uncomfortable questions is the moment your margin starts to erode. Now, building financial command is not about turning every leader into an accountant. It is about creating a culture where financial intelligence exists at every seat around the table, not just the financial director. Now, three things need to happen. First, the FD needs to shift from historical reporting to diagnostic reporting. The five things I've just described. Present tense, not past tense. Where is the leak? Not what happened last quarter. Second, every leader in the team needs to understand the financial impact of their decisions. The sales director needs to understand margin, not just revenue. The operation director needs to understand the cost of inefficiency in pounds, not just percentage. The HR director needs to understand what a bad hire can cost and what a delayed hire costs. Financial literacy at every seat. Third, install a monthly financial checkpoint. 30 minutes. The FD presents the one-page dashboard. Each leader reviews their departmental impact. One risk is named and addressed. Decisions are made. This becomes part of the 90-day rhythm, the traction lever of the impact model which I have. Now, when you build a financial command, something is going to shift. The entire leadership team starts thinking in pounds or dollars. Conversations change, decisions improve, and margins stop leaking. Financial blindness, my dear friends, is one of the most expensive gaps because it compounds silently. Every month it goes unaddressed, the margin erodes a little further. And because it is invisible, nobody raises the alarm until the P&L starts to hurt. So if you want to test whether financial command exists in your business, the CEO Scorecard, which I have, has a question designed specifically for these dimensions. It's only 60 seconds free. There's a link below. If you're ready for the full picture, take the Gap Unlock Questionnaire at vijay.com. And what I do is I personally identify which of the 15 gaps are costing you the most. And I will share a link below as well. And here's the thing. I fix the system, not the people. Clarity first, impact fast. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.